That was grooving high, an example of a style of jazz called bebop. This type of music is called bebop because when it's sung, the phrases end with the two syllables bebop.
Bebop.
Now we're going to put a little syncopation on it and sing bebop.
Bebop.
Badoodle bebop.
Badoodle bebop.
Bop boop baribop.
Bop boop bebop.
Buda boop boop baribop.
Da bop boop bebop.
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 Hop.
Ha.
Musicians began to play bebop in the early 1940s during World War II. It changed the playing of and the listening to jazz in such fundamental ways that many fans consider the invention of bebop to be the beginning of the modern era of jazz. Before bebop, jazz music was most often played by jazz orchestras of 4 trumpets, 3 trombones, 5 saxophones, and a rhythm section. These orchestras typically played for dancers in large hotel ballrooms. Theirs was primarily ensemble music with occasional solos. Bebop was more of a concert-style music played in small clubs for people sitting down and happily and disrespectfully talking all over the musicians. The emphasis was on the virtuosity of the musicians and the intricate nature of their interactions, not on the steady, regular beat featured in dance music. A typical bebop band would be a quintet with 5 musicians, 1 trumpet, 1 saxophone, piano, bass, and drums. The smaller group placed the primary importance on individual solos, and the 2 men who invented the melodic side of bebop, saxophonist Charlie Parker and trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie, were both phenomenal soloists. Groovin' High was composed by Dizzy Gillespie. It's based on the harmonies of a popular song entitled Whispering. Written in the 1920s, Whispering was originally played in the 2-beat style, perfect for dancing. Let's check it out. Dizzy Gillespie changed the rhythmic feeling of this song. He altered the harmonies a little bit and created an entirely different melody. That melody is grooving high, bebop. It's like putting a new suit on. You're still the same person, but that suit might just give you an entirely different look and feeling. Here's whispering and grooving high together. So you see, it's the same song, but with Dizzy's melody, it takes on an entirely different meaning. Now, bebop was new music and very few people knew how to play it. So it's very important for the beboppers to have a teacher. And that man was Dizzy Gillespie. He taught most of the other musicians how to play bebop properly. But Charlie Parker was the music's poet. Dizzy once told me that some of the deepest notes ever played came out of Charlie Parker's horn. In addition to being great musicians, both of these men had great nicknames. Charlie Parker's nickname was Yardbird, and a yardbird is just a chicken. But they didn't call him that because he was scared. He got that name because he was on the road with a band, and they were hungry like you almost always are when you're on the road. Somebody wanted to stop at a restaurant, but Charlie said, "Hey man, let's not stop at a restaurant. Let's go back a piece and grab some of those yardbirds that were clucking around." So they started calling him Bird. Dizzy's real name is John Burks Gillespie, but because he had such a well-developed sense of humor and his behavior was unpredictable, everyone called him Dizzy, and eventually Diz. Diz and Bird became famous as a team. Their recordings were played and studied by musicians all over the world. If you could successfully imitate Diz and Bird, you became a modern jazz man, and that's still true today. Bebop was invented in Harlem in a place called Minton's Playhouse on 118th Street between St. Nicholas and 7th Avenue. It was developed in musical meetings called jam sessions. These are informal late-night get-togethers where musicians trade ideas back and forth. Now, eventually the music spread out from Minton's. It migrated downtown to a group of small clubs on 52nd Street, now called Swing Street, even though all of the swinging clubs have been long gone. The melodies and harmonies of bebop were exciting and different. The musicians played so much faster than could ever be imagined that the rhythmic feel of jazz itself had to change, and rhythm is the heart of jazz. To swing means to be coordinated. And because the rhythm is continuous and everyone in the group feels the time a different way, you are always adjusting. The basic rhythmic unit in jazz is called the shuffle. Before bebop, this shuffle was mainly articulated on the sock cymbal. The man responsible for developing the rhythmic feel of bebop was drummer Kenny Clark. His nickname was Klukamop because of the sound of his swing. Klukamop, Klukamop, Klukamop. He loosened the feeling of the shuffle and left the sock cymbal to articulate the shuffle on the ride cymbal. As we can hear, the rhythm changed to accommodate the new melodies and harmonies. Now we're going to have Wes Anderson and our rhythm section demonstrate how the shuffle rhythm changed from the 1920s very tight shuffle to the 1930s tight shuffle to the loose shuffle of the 1940s. If you'll remember, we said that before bebop, jazz was most commonly played by jazz orchestras with a lot of horns. Well, all of those horns had to do something, so they did the most natural thing. They talked to each other in sections and through call and response. Here's a call and response between the reeds and the brass. With bebop, we don't have all of the horns. So this call and response became an ongoing dialogue between the single horn soloist and the drummer. Let's check it out. Now we're going to play one of the famous songs in the bebop repertoire, composition by a drummer, Denzel Best, entitled Move. We want y'all to notice all the things we've been talking about, the phrases that end with the syllables bebop, that the music is fast, the loose shuffle rhythm that's most often articulated on the ride cymbal, the dialogue between the horn soloists and the drums. Talking about bebop. Can't get no better than that.